So this is easy, you know, that way. The translation method is very easy. And even the, you know, the structures of the foreign language are best learned when compared and contrasted with those of the mother tongue. If I am just teaching my students the structures of English language, they won't understand. But if I compare the structures, okay, with the Hindi version, say I'm talking about Hindi, as I said earlier, that I will be like confining myself as far as translation is concerned to Hindi language, because this is the language that is spoken in this part of our country. So we may tell our students that in English language we have S plus V plus O. Okay, this is structure we have S plus V plus O. Whereas in Hindi or say Urdu, what structure do you have? You have S plus O plus V. So you can tell your students. Okay, they can compare and they would know, well, if we are writing in English, we have to follow this structure, whereas in our mother tongue, this structure is followed. I eat a mango. I, subject, eat, verb, mango is object. And मैं आम खाता हूँ. खाता हूँ is verb, आम is object, and मैं is subject. So this is so simple. So like we can tell this structures to students. Very soon students understand the difference in sentence structures of L1 and L2. Okay, again I would like to tell you what is L1. L1 is your mother tongue. Okay, L1 is your mother tongue. I'll be using these words. That's why I want you to remember them. Do not forget them. L2 is this is language 1. Okay, language 1. Which is the language you have learned first?
Mother tongue.
Mother tongue. And which is your mother tongue?
Hindi.
Hindi is your mother tongue. Well, so this is language 1. And which language are you learning as the second language?
English.
English you are learning as the second language. Very good. So this is L2. And since you are learning this language, this is also called as the target language. Okay. What is it called? The target language. And it is also called as the second language. Why? Because this is your second language. And that is why you would find, you know, this acronym, this abbreviation ESL, English as a second language. What does it mean? English as a second language. So English is a second language for us. It's not our mother tongue. So in all those countries where English does not happen to be mother tongue, English is taught as a second language. ESL. Remember this. So what do we see? You know, once you tell your students the structures of the mother tongue and that of the foreign language, that is the target language, then very soon they understand the difference in sentence structure, and they start forming correct sentences in the second language. Start forming correct sentences in the English language. Okay, or say in the target language. If you know there are dissimilarities, now here there is a dissimilarity in the structure, there are similarities too. There are similarities too, and these common features prove very advantageous in picking up the nuances of the second language. You know, all languages have their own nuances. They all have their peculiarities. And if you understand the peculiarities of the language, the nuances of the language, you understand it. That's very important, and it takes time. You can understand the nuances, you can understand the peculiarities only when you say immerse yourself there in language teaching or language learning process. Now I was telling about the similarities. Now, if there are dissimilarities in the structures, there are similarities also. So try to exploit the similarities as teachers of English. You are all going to be teachers of English, so you must try to exploit the similarities that we have in the two languages, the English language and your own mother tongue, the Hindi language. For example, the closeness between English and Hindi idioms. Well, I'll be selecting here those idioms where you have, almost similar translation there in the mother tongue. For example, necessity is the mother of invention. Necessity is the mother of invention. If you're telling this idiom to your student, he might forget it. But if you give him the Hindi version, then he might not. He would retain it there in his memory. Like, what do we say? आवश्यकता आविष्कार की जननी है. आवश्यकता आविष्कार की जननी है. This is what we say?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, आवश्यकता is जरूरत. जरूरत जो है वो इजाद की माँ है. जरूरत इजाद की माँ है. This is how we would say in Urdu. Like, prevention is better than cure. Prevention is better than cure. How would you translate? Prevention is better than cure. इलाज से परहेज अच्छा है. इलाज से परहेज अच्छा है. परहेज is prevention. Ilaj is treatment, cure. So prevention is better than cure. So if you have, like the similar equivalent, then it is important that you tell it or you share it with your students so that they do not remember, they do not forget. Okay, so that they remember lifelong. Like, practice makes a man perfect. Practice makes a man perfect. A very common proverb, and you also have a Hindi version, and this is said by a Hindi poet. Do you remember? Yes? Well, I am giving you a hint. It has got the word karat. Karat. No? You can't make out? Well, it's escaping me as well. करत करत अभ्यास के जड़मती हो सुजान. करत करत अभ्यास के जड़मती हो सुजान. Now I remember the entire couplet. रसरी आवत जाते शिल्प परत निशान. Now you remember? Okay. Do not forget that whatever you teach, try to retain that. Because, like, if you learn Hindi language, if you learn Sanskrit language or Urdu language, they all support in learning other languages. Say, tit for tat. Now this is a very common idiom. Tit for tat. What do you say in Hindi?
जैसे को तैसा.
Very good. जैसे को तैसा. Yeah. So here you could pass on. जैसे को तैसा. Yes, you're right. Or say, where there is a flower, there is a thorn. Where there is a flower, there is a thorn. जहाँ फूल वहाँ कांटा. You can give this translation, जहाँ फूल वहाँ कांटा. Now your student is going to remember, where there is a flower, there is a thorn. A similar is, where there is a will, there is a way. Where there is a will, there is a way. So it seems as though this has been influenced by that idiom, because that one is a very common one. This is not that common. Where there is a flower, there is a thorn. जहाँ फूल वहाँ कांटा. Now I'm reminded of Phool and Kata we are talking about. I am reminded of a couplet. हमने कांटों को भी नरमी से छुआ है अक्सर. हमने कांटों को भी नरमी से छुआ है अक्सर. लोग बेदर्द हैं फूलों को मसल देते हैं. लोग बेदर्द हैं फूलों को मसल देते हैं. So enjoyed the couplet? Okay. And like I'm reminded of a dialogue also which became very popular. It's from Dilip Kumar's movie Mughal-e-Azam. कांटों को बुझाने का खौफ नहीं होता जिल्ले-इलाही या साहिब-ए-आलम. कांटों को बुझाने का खौफ नहीं होता साहिब-ए-आलम. This was on Phool and Kate. Okay. Now, can you give me any other proverb or idiom where you have a similar translation in Hindi, in your mother tongue? Okay. Better alone than in a bad company. Better alone than in a bad company. बुरी संगत से अकेला भला. बुरी संगत से अकेला भला. Okay. I might not be like giving you the exact, but this is very close to, and this is how I have learnt while I studied Hindi, in fact, there in my 9th and 10th standard. So better alone than in a bad company. These English idioms and proverbs, maxims, we still use, and we use even Hindi ones. So I might not be very true with words, but I'm giving you the soul. बुरी संगत से अकेला भला. It's better to be alone than in a bad company. Man is known another man is known by the company he keeps. मनुष्य और आदमी और इंसान अपनी संगति से पहचाना जाता है. मनुष्य अपनी संगति से, इंसान अपनी संगति से पहचाना जाता है. संगत is very important. Your parents must have told you this, that you have to have a good company. If you have a good company, then you become a good person, and if you don't have a good company, then you do not become a good company. So company is very important. Sangat is very important. Okay.